Hey guys, it's Jen and I'm here with a new layout for the Crafty Maven Getaway channel. The photos that you just saw were the inspiration for this week's layouts and projects, and I'm going to be scrapbooking this photo of my family at Disneyland, and I am taking inspiration from the quote that was on the one of the inspiration pieces, and at the end it says, those who don't believe in magic won't find it, or something like that. And so I'm going to use that play on the word magic because Disney is magical, and I'm going to use that for my titling. And I just wanted to preface by saying all of my layouts in my Disney album, or in my vacation albums, well, particularly my Disney album, start with a white piece of cardstock, and I'll map that later on a piece of colored cardstock. So I've already cut a 1/2 inch off either side, so I have a 1/4 inch border. So I just wanted to preface by saying that, and then I will go ahead and get to work. So I'm using, like I said, a part of that original quote as my title, and I realized that a few weeks ago I had written it in my little hand lettering journal, and so I'm using that for reference, and I am writing it out in some masking fluid. And you can buy masking fluid. I've seen it at Walmart, or you can buy it at art supply stores, and I'm just using a paintbrush to apply it just how I would write my hand lettering. And the masking fluid is just what it says. It provides a mask, so I'm going to be using some spray mist over the top of it in a bunch of different blue shades to go along with that other inspiration piece. It had a lot of shades of blues and greens on it and a mosaic pattern, and I'm going to be using my spray mists in blues and greens for that. So I am just still writing that out with my paintbrush, and you'll notice when I reveal this later that there are a few spots where the color bled through, and that's because I didn't apply the masking fluid as heavily in those areas. So that's just something to keep in mind if you want to try this technique. And I also forgot to dot the I in Find It, which is okay. I'm totally fine with it. So what I'm doing now is I was just testing to see if I wanted to add some little kind of star shapes around the title, but I didn't like the way it was looking, so I decided against it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to layer up my photo with a bunch of scraps that I pulled just from, my scraps, and I'm going to first mount my photo on some white cardstock. And I just like the way that it makes a photo pop when it has a white border. It really makes it stand out. And since I'm going to be adding a bunch of layers, I definitely want to make sure that my photo stands out. So you can see some of the layers here, and some of them I know where they came from, some of them not. That striped piece came from a basic gray paper pad. I think it is Fact or Fiction or something. It's really old. And that is a Simple Stories piece of patterned paper. The hearts and the stars are from an older Dear Lizzie collection, and then this one with the different colors of circles is from a newer Chamel collection, the True Stories. And so I'm just layering those up so that they look interesting. And then I realized that because I'm going to be adding all that mist, that I might need to change up my layers, but I will see when I'm done if I need to do that when I've done misting. So I thought about adding this little camera. It's from a Dear Lizzie pattern paper that's a little bit older, and I've added it on some of the other layouts in this album, and so I thought it would be nice to include it. And in the end, I don't end up finding a home for it. I pulled out these Dear Lizzie thickers that are just different chipboard shapes and embellishments. I really like them, but they don't end up making it either. So here's where I'm going through my little swatches of my inks and pulling out all the blues and greens here. Well, not so much the greens, but like the blues and aquas. And these are the ones that I'm going to use. So if I can tell you, they are Mr. Huey's Gable Green, Dilution's Vibrant Turquoise, Mr. Huey's Audrey, Mr. Huey's Bonnie Blue, and the other two are Mr. Huey's as well, Bazinga and Splash. And I will link up all of the products below and over on my blog as well, which I will also link to below, so that if you wanted to find any of those, you can. So I've just gone ahead and misted over it, laid down my craft mat. That's from Close to My Heart. I like that one because it has like a non-slip coating on the back, so I like it. I use both that one and my Ranger mat. So now I'm just dabbing off some of the extra ink that's pooled on top of the masking fluid. And I went ahead and let the masking fluid dry, and now I am rubbing it off. I found that the best way for me to rub it off was using an eraser, because when I was rubbing it with my fingers, it was peeling up some of the paper. But when I do it with the eraser, it didn't peel up the paper. And if it did, it kind of smoothed it out using the eraser. So I'll go ahead and skip forward, and here you can see it all done. So I pulled these labels from the an old Scraptastic kit, and I thought that I might use them, but I decided not to. And I like the way the layers are looking, but I want to fill in a little bit of that space that bridges the gap between that yellow piece and then the mist on the left. So I'm playing around with those labels there, and they do not, like I said, end up making it. I'll also play around with that little Dream Big chipboard piece from Dear Lizzie a bit too, but it doesn't make it either. So now I'm going through some of my pink paisley die cuts. I keep all of my die cuts by manufacturer in these little photo cases that are from Michaels. You can get them, I think, at Joann's as well. And I am pulling pieces from a few different collections, but the ones I end up using are from the Pink Paisley Atlas collection die cuts. And they're really cute, and they're travel based, and so they work perfectly for any kind of travel or vacation themed layout or album. And I'll be sure to link to that below. I get a lot of questions about storage, so I'll make sure I link to that. And so just going through the die cuts. I love sorting through my embellishments. I think it's fun. I pull out a bunch of stars from that Atlas die cut package, but I only end up using one, and you'll see in just a minute. Here I'm playing with that camera and some of those glitter die cuts that end up not working. I pulled some little starburst thingies from my wood veneer, and these are really old. I think that they're either Studio Calico or Freckled Fawn, but they're this little kind of diamond shape, and it just reminds me of Magic and of Disneyland, and so I'm using these throughout my album. So I'm going to add a few of them and I'll end up scattering them around the title. Right now I'm just kind of playing with where I might want to put those. And I'm going through some of my stickers and different little packages of embellishments to see what else I might want to add, pulling out different things that I see that catch my eye as I go. And this is just one of my favorite parts about scrapbooking, is looking through all my stuff to try to find what I want to use. I end up pulling out that tag from American Crafts DIY shop, and it's just a dictionary print on a tag, and I love those tags, and I've used them in previous layouts in this album as well, and it fills in that spot nicely. I also pulled another tag that is super old that I'm putting with it. That's from American Crafts also. And then those little stars, enamel stars that I put on, are from Chickanitty. And I pulled that little puffy sticker that says Make Magic, and that is from a Gossamer Blue puffy sticker sheet. And it is just so soft and puffy. I just like to touch it. I pulled out some other puffy stickers that are from K & Company that I got at Target. I think they were exclusive to Target. I got a couple sheets of those, but they end up not working. And I'm pulling also out these little Teresa Collins stickers that end up not working either. I'm trying to find something that can go on the inside of that little camera piece that I cut out of that paper. And I choose that enamel dot that matches the orangey yellow color of that patterned paper. And it looks really nice, but again, I don't end up adding that camera to the page. And I decide on that Our Journey Starts Here die cut instead, and I'll find another piece that's going to go below it, that magical sticker. I wanted to include the word magical, and I knew I had that, so I went looking for it, and that's from an older Echo Park collection called Capture Life, and they had it in black and white and in colors, and so I bought the black and white package. And that magical die cut has like a glitter printed onto it, And so there was also a heart with that glitter printing, so I just added that to the tag. And now I'm going to go ahead and adhere all my layers down, because I always get to this point where I'm just fussing with the layers and they're moving everywhere and it's really obnoxious and annoying. And then I finally glue them down. So that's the point that I've reached now. And I'm making it so that the layers kind of frame the bottom of the title, if you can see that there. And I'll just cut off the bottom of the tags to tuck them in, and I'm going to pop up the tops of the tags with some thin foam squares. And I just tied that other tag with some crochet thread that you can get at any craft store that sells yarn and crochet stuff, or Walmart or whatever. And I'm also going to pop up that die cut from I want to say Pink Paisley. Yeah, Pink Paisley, the one that says Our Journey Starts Here. And I'm going to add that star up at the top, and I'm going to staple it down. So I also staple down that Remember little tab, because I like to have staples in more than one place if I use them. And now I'm going to take those little wood veneers and I'm going to ink them up with this Brilliance ink pad. And I think it's called Platinum, and it just gives it it makes them look a little less wood. I didn't want to have that natural color of the wood shining through, so it gives them a little soft metallic feel. They're not quite silver. I mean, you can still tell they're wood veneer, but it takes away that color a little bit, and it gives it a nice shimmer. I'm also going to stamp the date down at the bottom, but first I'm going to add my journaling. So I'm just writing a little bit about how magic is hard for me to see in everyday life, but I kind of see it a lot more when I'm at Disneyland. The magic really shines, and that's a place where I really believe in magic. So then I'm going to stamp the date, which is just the month and year. And whenever I do just the month and year, I like to use my Chamel roller date stamp, because the month and year are right next to each other. And then to echo that, I'm going to use this, I think it's an Amy Tangerine roller stamp. Nope, it's a Dear Lizzie that says Happy Place. And that's another stamp I've been using throughout my album. And I'm gluing down those wood veneer pieces with Scotch Quick Dry adhesive, which is in a fine line bottle. And just scattered those around the title. And now I am going to go ahead and sprinkle some graphite. This is a super old Tattered Angels mist, but it kind of has a silver shimmer to it, and I really like the way that it looks when it's done. And now I'm going to find something to mount my layout on. So I thought I might do red, but I wasn't loving the way it looked, and the blue was too much blue. And so I found a piece of black cardstock, and I think it looks great. I think most of my layouts will probably have a black cardstock border in this album because I just like the way it looks. So I'll go ahead and get that adhered down, and I'm going to use some score tape on the back, and this is the 1/2 inch. And just because it's a little bit bowed and warped, this helps it to really lay a lot more flat. And so I'll just put that on, and then that is going to complete my layout. So I hope that you've enjoyed this, and that you will check out the Crafty Maven Getaway blog, and you can see close-up photos of this, and I'll post them on my blog as well. And I'll post links to all of the places that you can find the Crafty Maven Getaway below as well. And they have a Facebook group too, which I will also link to. Thanks so much for watching. We'll talk to you soon.